I'm Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, and this is Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. When it comes to saltwater tanks, there's two main types to go with: fish only with live rock and reef tanks, and making the decision is one of the pivotal points of your tank's lifespan. Now, I want to use this episode today to talk to you about the difference between fish only with live rock tanks and reef tanks, as well as give you some pointers on how to make the decision between the two and how to run each of them. And I also want to use today's episode to talk about my no-nonsense guide to setting up a saltwater tank, Volume 2, that I'm rolling out today. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about a special offer I'm running for, you guessed it, the holidays. That's why my tank is red and green, by the way. It's not naturally like that. Since it's the holiday season, I'm having an end of the year holiday blowout sale. All of my guides, including the new no-nonsense guide to setting up a saltwater tank, Volume 2, is 30% off. That's right, 30% off any guide you want. You can get one guide, two guide, or why not take advantage of the savings and get all three guides. So to pick up your copy of the no-nonsense guide or any of my guide for 30% off, follow the link at the bottom of your screen. Now, for that, let's jump back to the no-nonsense guide for a minute so you know what it's all about. The no-nonsense guide Volume 1 is about getting your saltwater tank up and rolling. And the no-nonsense guide Volume 2 is about what to do next, namely fish-only tank or reef tank. I cover both types of tanks, then cover in depth one of the most confusing topics in the saltwater tank world: lighting. The guide looks at some tanks never seen before on Mr. Saltwater Tank TV, how they are lit, including PAR readings for each of them. I'll also walk you through how to choose the lighting for your tank and make sure that you don't leave out the vital rest of the fish only with live rock and reef tank equation. All right, back to this whole fish only with live rock and reef tank discussion. Well, first let's understand the difference between the two. Reef tank, any saltwater tank that has fish, like these guys, and corals in it. All this stuff. Pretty easy to remember. Can't screw that one up. Fish and corals, boom, reef tank. Now that's a contrast to a fish only with live rock tank. Well, what's that? Let's have a look at it, because it's a pretty easy giveaway. Fish only with live rock tanks is just fish. There's no coral in the tank. Now, fish only with live rock tanks require less stringent water parameters, and you get to keep some awesome fish that us reef guys don't. I wish I could keep these fish in my tank, but I can't. They would wipe out all my corals. Now, keeping a reef tank boils down to three main things, and I'm going to cover one of them today, which is lighting. Now, corals have a symbiotic relationship with algae within them. The algae needs photosynthesis to carry on its processes and create amino acids and sugars for the animal, that's the coral itself. So, without good lighting, photosynthesis doesn't happen and the coral dies. Now, there are a couple main types of lighting for a reef tank, and let's take a quick look at each of them. The big players are Power Compact, T5, T12s, also known as VHOs, metal halide, LEDs, and then plasma arc is out there, but it's not a big player. When considering lighting for your tank, things to look at include potential heat issues. Will you need to cool your tank with your choice in lighting? Needs of your coral? Creating 3 lighting zones in your tank. Light output, which is measured in PAR. One thing's for sure about PAR. Reef keepers are PAR crazy. This is especially true now that LEDs are in the market, coming on big time. Now, people are obsessing over numbers. I gotta hit this amount of PAR at this level, and then the fixture's gotta put out this amount of light, otherwise it's not a good one, and blah, 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 blah. And they freak out if they don't exactly hit that number. And the more that I hang around PAR and the more that I look at PAR ratings on lots of different tanks, the more I say, you know what? I don't think we need to be obsessing about it as much. I mean, it's certainly a guideline, but good Lord, why? I mean, yes, corals need light to grow, but I've certainly seen plenty of exceptions when it comes to PAR. So PAR is a good thing, and it's a bad thing. Once you get these factors worked out, make sure you nail the spectrum and Kelvin rating of your lighting so your corals thrive and your tank looks great. Now, here's a hint. 14K bulbs are a great balance of growth and color. And for you fish-only guys, you have it super easy. Whether you choose a fish-only with live rock tank or a reef tank, there's no right or wrong way to go, and one type of tank isn't better than another. As much as us reef tank guys would like to think otherwise. I gotta admit it, there are times when I sit here and go, you know, I keep a reef tank. That makes me pretty dang cool. But then I go look at the fish-only with live rock tanks and I go, God, those fish are beautiful. I want that, but it would decimate all the corals in my tank in a day, so strike it off your list. So whatever route you go, there's no wrong way to go. Both types of tanks have beautiful fish and corals that you can keep in them. Now, if you're looking for an in-depth discussion on how to choose between fish only with live rock tank and reef tank, as well as my complete lighting guide to setting up a reef tank, Follow the link at the bottom of your screen to pick up my no-nonsense guide to setting up a saltwater tank, Volume 2. Remember, I'm only offering the guide until Friday, December 23rd at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. After that time, the offer is over. And don't forget about the holiday special as well, 30% off any one of my guides to give you the super holiday blowout end of the year special. So until next time, I'm Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank. This has been Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. Have a good one, enjoy your tanks, and know your tank personality. And happy holidays, by the way, everyone.